You guys enjoyed your evening in here. I'm sure you did. And look at all these lovely ladies. I'm sure you guys all enjoyed it, but now it's time to go back. And we'll see if they'll even follow me. I'm really doubting that they're going to follow me. I feel like there's going to be some temptation behind me, so I'm really hoping that they'll follow me. Come on out, boys. Come on out. Hello. Come on, let's go this way. Come on. Let's go this way. You guys gonna come? Come on. Oh boy, the guys are coming. Good boys. Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Oh, you boys ready to go home? Come on, let's go home. Come on. Come on. Come on. Okay, June, don't stop having them off. Come on. June, stop that. Go. Go on. Go in. Goodness gracious. Go on. Go in. Boy, you guys are so good. Sir. This tree is usually upright. You can just tell with the ice swinging it down. I'm just hoping it doesn't end up damaging the cedar tree. Almost as quickly as it came. It is melting right away. So we got a little bit more done on the raised garden beds today. I got my Mother's Day arbor. I've got the 2 Rubbermaids next to it. Then we got another small one. And you guys can see we replaced all of the old small boxes with the new ones. So you guys can tell, like, I have some leveling to do. But oh my gosh, it is coming together. When I first told Mark that we needed to get working on this project, I really did not think that we were going to make it by growing season. Like I didn't. And you know, I really should have a lot more faith in my husband, because anytime I tell him that we need something done or we're facing a pretty hard deadline, he just always comes in clutch. He's done such a good job, guys. Look at all of it. So the plans, actually, we've got this big tartar galvanized trough right here that I've been using to store some of the early manure piles that Joe helped me bring out, oh my goodness, about 2 months ago. So it's been here for a while, but it's perfect too, because a lot of this manure now has aged quite a bit. So I'm going to be using a lot of this, and I'm going to be putting it in these smaller raised garden boxes. But then I really would like to take this right here behind me. It's got a really long oval shape, and I want to put it right here. I want to put it right in front of the arbor long ways to kind of break up the design and just give it a little more dimension on my garden. I couldn't ask for anything more, guys. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Mark did such a good job on this. We're gonna have, I have a feeling it's gonna be the best growing season that we've ever had here on Mulberry Ranch Farm, and I am so excited to bring you along while we're growing food for our family here. We're getting another false spring and it's driving me nuts. And it's actually been making a lot of animals around the farm act real springish, which for some of them means they're entering into their mating season. So the chickens are starting to up production. I've seen some love happening in the coop. There's been love happening down here, and we do have a Muscovy duck that's about 3-4 weeks in to setting her nest. It might only be 2 or 3. In the winter, it feels like weeks go on and on forever. And I kind of feel like things have been happening longer than they actually have, because I'm a spring person. I live for the longer days. So, but a lot of the ducks behind me are all feeling the effects of spring, which means I hope we'll be seeing lots of Muscovy duck nests happening here very, very soon. I do consider Muscovy ducks to be a homestead breed. I know that they don't get up to butcher weight as quickly as some other more well-known ducks like the Pekin breed and things like that. But they are just so cool. Like, they're not that dirty. They're not really loud. I love their eggs. They make the coolest noises. They don't quack. They're more closely related to geese. They're the most unduck duck you could have, which is probably why I like them a whole lot. But they are just swell, and they really like hanging out when I'm over here getting the garden ready for growing season. Lucy's picked a new place to nest. Too bad it's right at the door to the feed room. Lucy! So even though we can kind of see spring in sight, and when I walk outside, I'm starting to see things pop up out of the ground. The grass is starting to green, even though we're about to get a cold spell. But something really terrible has been happening in Indiana. It's actually something that affects my chickens directly. There's been a strain of avian influenza that's been found in Indiana. And we need to be taking specific biosecurity precautions to keep our birds safe and to keep this AI from spreading. So when it comes to my chickens, I've been keeping them in. I haven't been letting them free range just because I don't want them to come into contact with wild birds. And if for some reason that bird tested positive for the new avian influenza strain, they would euthanize all of the birds on my site. And that is just, it makes my heart feel so sick. It makes me feel so sick. So I kind of am a little bit strained with this because my birds, they love to free range. I rely on free ranging to help me with my feed bill. And feed just keeps going up and up and up. Every time I'm at the farm stores or the co-ops where we get our feed, every week they go higher and higher and higher. So because I haven't been allowed to let my birds out, I've actually been doing something I did last year, and I'm excited to share it with you. We started fodder again. And you guys might notice this year that I don't have these underneath of a grow light. Really the reason for that being is it's getting really close to seed starting season for foods for us that, you know, our animals obviously get to get scraps or clippings or weeds that grow around those fruits and vegetables. But that's why they're up here just in the window. I'm kind of just doing it old school, and you guys can tell they are definitely reaching towards the sun. So to help me with feed costs, to help my birds cope with not being able to free range as freely as they used to, I'm doing a lot more fodders this year. The two fodders I'm doing are going to be barley, and this is actually a hard red wheat. So that these are what I'm going to be using for fodder. I had good luck with barley last year, and wheat will be something different for them, just to give them a little bit more variety in their diet. And I wanted to be a little bit more efficient, have something that I could use over and over and over. So I saw on Amazon that they have these microgreen growing sets, and I'm trying them out. They're actually really cool, and I think that they're going to be a lot better than the setup that I was using last year. So you guys can see, you just put the seeds on top and there's water that's underneath of them. But look at that root system growing down into that water. It really just feels like it's one thing after the other. We're getting ready to come up on kidding season and growing season, and now trying to keep the birds in right as the landscape might actually have something to offer them for sustenance, for, you know, dietary variety, to make them happier and healthier. Then we've got this strain of avian influenza going around. I'm just trying to protect my birds until we get the all clear. But it is just, you know, 2022, you can kind of just chill out. You don't have to top 2020. You don't have to top 2021. It's all right just to be nicer. Just be kind. Finally big enough. See how they like it. You guys can tell everybody is being confined. They seem like they are really enjoying the fodder that I give, and honestly it's a lifesaver right now since I don't let them out. The only time that I really let them out of the cage is if they bum rush the door, which does happen, but it's usually towards the end of the day when most of the songbirds are already out and away and are migratory birds anyways, are out in the way and starting to roost. They're not really around, but you can see we've got the nice hardware mesh to keep from birds coming in and out. And I do have one thing that I need to work on for my coop with this is this door, because this is actually wide enough for wild migratory birds to actually get in for feed. So I feed my birds inside here. The only time I feed outside is when I've got the fodder, or in the late evening time to give them something to do. I'll throw in some bedding that they can scratch through, and I'll throw their grains in there as well, so that they kind of get to scratch and do chickeny things, because it's really not fun to be in a run all day long, especially when these birds are used to free ranging. But I do have netting. You guys can see, like, I've got netting over the top, but I do need to take care of this, and it's due anyways. I really should be using the mesh material that I've got on that side right here, and I have that set aside for later today. That's what I'm going to be doing. The only thing that I'm struggling with are my ducks, because my duck pen is set up differently. So here's my duck pen. You guys can see why this is different. It is a much bigger area that they get to go in free range through. So it makes it a little difficult to keep these guys away from the migratory birds. Hi, Squiggy. So when it comes to these guys, it's such a large area, and they need this large area to forage and kind of get out and away. We're in the middle of breeding season too with Muscovy ducks. So there's a lot of challenging happening between our 3 drakes. We do have 15 girls. So that's roughly 5 hens to each drake, which isn't bad at all, but we probably will remove 1 drake. So it's important to have this amount of space for them. But the way that I'm kind of keeping them from coming into contact with migratory birds is I'm out here often throughout the day, but I only feed them 1 time a day, and it's right at dusk when most songbirds are away, and I only feed them enough to get them through to the next feeding. So there's not excess feed in their duck coop down there. That is encouraging migratory songbirds, migratory any type of birds, to go in and to share a space with them. So that's what we've been doing. And they get closed up at night, they're let out in the mornings, but that's pretty much the only thing that we can really do for these guys outside of keeping them locked in there or really reducing our numbers. And we depend on these guys for eggs. These guys provide us with meat. So really keeping them out locked inside in an unhealthy area for the population that we have that's necessary to sustain ourselves here on the homestead, just it's kind of out of the question. But those are some of the things that we're doing here to kind of help to alleviate the stress of this avian influenza that's actually in our area right now that we're trying to keep our birds from getting. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me while we anticipate the ducks starting the breeding season, with spring making its way here, and while we're trying to cope with this new contagious strain of avian influenza hitting all of the flight paths in the United States and potentially putting a lot of flocks at risk. Let me know down in the comment section if you've heard of the avian influenza strain that's going around right now, and what are you doing to keep your flock safe. But in the meantime, guys, make sure that you drop me a like, and if you want to see more of our content, make sure that you subscribe. But until next time, we hope that you are all staying safe out there and being kind to one another, and we're going to catch you all in the next one. God bless you. Bye, y'all.